Okay. Hi, everybody. Today, I want to go over accidentals and key signatures. And if you don't know what those are, this is the perfect lesson for you. So, as we know, there are 7 notes, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? Let me turn that down just a little bit so it's a little less annoying to hear. Still going to hear it, but it doesn't need to be that intense. Right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And I'll even do this number. Both clefs, Control N, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Right? So that tells us there should only be 7 notes, just a repeating pattern. But why don't we take a look at a keyboard? Bear with me at this little tiny piano, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But if you notice, there are 5 notes I didn't hit. The black keys. All the white keys, just repeating. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So what are the black keys? Well, those are sharps and flats. And now let's look at how they work. Those are called accidentals, essentially. And let me share over to another source. I'll transfer over to my whiteboard and we'll look at how that works. So white keys, essentially, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then we'll have an A at top just to make sure we're good. If you go back and look at the piano, there were it's just a repeating pattern, but there were 7 white keys and 5 black keys. So that gets us a total of 12 notes before it repeats. And those black keys happen in between. But if you looked closely, there were 2 pairs that didn't have any notes in between them. There's B and C, E and F. And we'll look at that again. But so how what accidentals are is they're qualified as sharps, flats, and naturals. So there's sharp, flat, natural. That one of the symbol, not the word. Natural. And what a sharp does is it raises a note up. Well, flat pulls a note down, and a natural brings it back from a sharp or a flat. So if we raise A up, we have A sharp. If we raise B up, we have nothing because there's nothing in between B and C, right? So then we skip to C sharp, C sharp. And then let's just speed through D sharp, nothing between E and F, F sharp. And then we pull it up, G sharp. Then we don't need to do it for A since we already did it at the bottom. And likewise, if we pull A down, we have A flat and G flat. We can't do anything to F, but we can do something to E. E flat. D flat. Can't do anything to C, but we can do something to B. B flat. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then 1 again. So there are 12 notes, right? But it looks like there's more than that. However, if you think about it, if there's only 1 space in between, let's say we're looking at A and B, if there's only 1 note space between them, If you pull A up, it's that note, or if you pull B down, it's the same thing. So it's two different names, two different spellings of the same sound, right? So that's called enharmonic. Enharmonic. Enharmonic is essentially the same thing as 2, 2, and 2, right? We've all seen this. 2, 2, 2. Three different spellings for the same exact sound that are appropriate in different contexts. That's all this is. Whether or not you use A sharp or B flat, it's going to be the same sound. They just have different times where they're appropriate. Now let's go back to the keyboard menu, and let's start looking at the rules for this. So to notice again, if this is A, notice how there's a note between A and B. It's right there. So if you pull A up, it's A sharp. If you pull B down, it's B flat. Nothing between B and C. If you pull C up, C sharp, pull D down, D flat. And that's true for all of them, right? Same rules apply. Now, there's a couple rules when you write accidentals or when you label accidentals, and we'll go through this. So we have our A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but now I want to change some stuff. I want to teach us some rules and then give you some exercises to attempt on your own, just like we did in the previous thing. So let's do so just this is what I want us to look at. So here are the rules for how accidentals work. There's only a couple. Rule 1, an accidental applies to the whole bar. So what I mean by that is, let's say we have A sharp. If this A is sharp, this applies to all A's in this bar. So let me do this. It would apply to that one, it would apply to that one, and it would apply to that one. So if we were labeling this, we would let me just get rid of that. Well, I guess it has two rules. It applies to the whole bar it's in and not any other bar. And it applies to all versions of that note, right? So A sharp, if it's at the beginning, applies to all notes after it in that bar. Let me be more specific. So I'll do this one. All notes after it in that bar. So if we were labeling it, this would be A. This would be A sharp. This would be A sharp. And this would also be A sharp. Right? That's how one of the rules works. That's pretty much how the rule works. Unless otherwise stated, it applies to the whole bar after that note appears. Right? If this is A sharp, anything after it to this line is also A sharp, whereas anything before is A natural. So let me rewrite this. And then I'll give you some work to do. So I want you to take a second. And fill this out. And pause it, try to fill it out, and then we'll work back on it together. And I'll also write a quick one for bass clef, just writing note identification. All right, so pause it, try to work this out, and then we'll reconvene. Okay, I assume you paused it and did it, so let's get started. First, for expediency's sake, let's assume we all know how to read the notes now. Right? So this is F, G, then F again, but because this is F sharp, it's by itself. But notice nothing before it is sharped because it affects the bar it's in, but after. Now this is G sharp right from the beginning, but there are no G's in the bar after it, so it doesn't matter. But notice this is C sharp. It has the marked accidental, but what comes after it doesn't, but because it's in the bar, but after it, C sharp. A, G, 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 E, D, and G, right? Now this one, F sharp. It's at the beginning of the bar, so all of the rest of the bar is affected by it, but no more Fs. I apologize for my weird programming error. This should be a G sharp, but it's not, and I don't know why. So this would be marked as a G sharp. It's a G following that, right? Because this is G sharp. So I know it's a different octave, so it's a different G, but all Gs, not just that G, but all Gs are G sharp in that bar. B, C, D, F, F, G sharp over here. But notice, end of the bar line. So this isn't a new bar, so it's G natural, not G sharp, right? So that's how accidentals work. But let's say I did this. Let's talk about naturals now. So what does a natural do? It brings it back. So I'll write a hypothetical bar. Like let's say did this, then this. All G's, but I'll do this. So what this does, right? This is Sorry. This is G sharp because it has an accidental. The accidental holds over for the rest of the bar. This is G sharp. Oh, but now the natural brings it back to regular G. So G sharp, regular G, and then just like an accidental, this affects the rest of the bar. So regular G, right? So that's how accidentals work. Now let's look how key signatures work. Let me just get rid of that. So a key signature is something you'll see at the beginning of music. And it says, it gives you essentially a set of rules for the piece of music you're reading. And it says, this one, that all Fs are sharp. How do I know that? Well, it's on the top line. And the top line in treble clef is F, or if we're looking at bass clef, the fourth line is F. Notice it's the same for both. And that's just saying every F we see is sharp unless otherwise written. So let me do this. Sorry, mistyped. So if we were writing what those notes were, it's F, G, F sharp, because it's F, but the key signature is all Fs are sharp, G, A, and then even if all Fs, not just the one it's written on, but all Fs are sharp, right? And what a natural does with a key signature is present is, let's say I do this. So if we were writing out what those were, I'd be like, okay, so F sharp, G, A, F sharp. This is F natural, so F. You just put F. You don't even have to put F natural. So F, E, D, and then this natural applies for the whole bar. So this is also just F. But let's say if we had another note here, new bar, so it would be F sharp again, right? So following these rules, I'm going to give you another little brief assessment to make sure you go through them. You got them right, and then I'll go through them with you. Okay? And we'll just stay in this key with just F sharp being the changing factor. So. Sorry, and just right back. Then I'll write another one real quick. Right, so pause it, take a second to figure it out, write them all down, and then we'll reconvene. All right, now that you've unpaused it, let's go through them. So it's on the first space. We use face to figure it out. F, but because of the key signature, all Fs are sharp, so F sharp. This is second line. How do we figure out lines? Treble clef, empty garbage before dad flips, empty garbage, G. Second space, spaces, F, A, it's an A. Empty garbage before, B. Empty garbage before dad, D. B, G, E, F natural. Oh, but then there's another accidental F sharp. So now we're back to sharps for the rest of the bar. So this would be F natural, F sharp. What's this? Empty garbage before dad flips. Flips, it's an F because of this F sharp affecting the rest of the bar after it. This is F sharp, G, right? Hope this works this time. It does. Hooray, right? So these are the correct answers. Now let's go down here. We got to use our sense of spaces. So all cars eat gas for spaces for bass clef. So that's G. We don't know this, but we know the top line. Good burritos don't fall apart, A. And then one above A is B. That's B. Empty garbage, or good burritos don't, D. All cars, C. Good burritos, B. Good, G. We know this is G, so this must be F. F natural. Good burritos don't fall, so F natural. And this is an F also, so we take this accidental applies for the rest of the bar. So that's F natural. Or you just put F. D, D, F, but because of the key signature, F sharp, and then G. So here is the answer key. It didn't work for this one again. I'm not sure why it's doing that. This should be F natural. All right, so that's how key signatures and accidentals work. Thank you very much for your time. I'll be posting more videos to this channel. Stay tuned. Goodbye, everybody.